The Wheat Hub has been working with its industry partners and its national and international collaborators to develop solutions for enhancing wheat yield and productivity in the harsh Australian environment. We've got programs which are looking to give Australian breeders greater access to genetic diversity for wheat and drought tolerance. We've been working with breeders and training them for the use of new tools such as drones in the field so that they can get better information from their crop trials faster than walking through the paddock. We've been looking at ways of enhancing the grain nutrition by increasing grain protein content in the wheat without losing yield. We've been developing a greater understanding of the wheat genome to help growers and scientists make informed decisions about introducing novel genetic variation into elite wheat cultivars.
In Programme 1, we investigated tolerance of wheat to drought and heat stress that come together. We also understand the genetic basis of that difference better now, which means that we can use genetic markers to find varieties that carry the tolerance traits.
A big challenge was to understand the differences and similarities between the wheat cultivars we worked with. The wheat genome is 5 times the size of the human genome, so making data analysis really difficult. So we needed to build a new tool, which we then called DAWN, to facilitate this. DAWN visualizes genetic diversity from the smallest scale to the largest scale. So this then allowed us to see what high-performing wheat cultivars have in common, and also what effect single mutations in a gene might have. It allows us to save time, really, by preventing crosses or attempts in breeding programs that ultimately won't work.
Programme 2 is about bringing more genetic diversity to Australian wheat. Genetic diversity is quite important for plants to cope with environmental changes, and we focus on Australian environment where the main stresses are heat and drought. And we produced around 2,500 plants that we grew across Australia in different environments, and we looked at different traits, but especially grain yield. Because I combined these exotic wheats with Australian varieties, they can now be used in breeding programs here to then develop lines that might be more adapted to heat and drought stress.
Wheat grain protein is important because it determines wheat classification and end product's qualities. We often see grain yield and grain protein contents are negatively correlated, which makes it difficult to increase both high. In our program, we try to break the negative relationship, and we might know the bottlenecks might be. We also developed genetic markers to increase the grain protein content, which can be used in the breeding programs.
We're working with the wheat breeders to understand how new technologies can be used to create data that can turn into information that lets them make good decisions. The drones and the imaging basically allow them to take more measurements across larger areas without as much effort. The types of measurements that you're taking a couple of measurements per plot, whereas with drones you can take hundreds to thousands of measurements per plot, which gives you a bit more of a detailed understanding of what might be happening in them. But also reduces the amount of data that you're actually taking back into the lab with you. You're actually walking back in with information. All of the partners now have got their own technology in the air right now, taking measurements regularly. They're doing it with much more confidence after having discussed a lot of their ideas with us.
Over the 5 years of the Wheat Hub, we've developed lots of new tools, technologies and lines that will help wheat breeders to improve varieties and get those out to farmers faster.